I'm Janelle.
And I'm Andy.
We recently celebrated our first anniversary, and we've been eager to get our family started since our wedding day.
Unfortunately, achieving that goal has been more difficult than we anticipated.
Due to some health issues with me, I figured it would take us a few months to get pregnant, but little did we know how hard it was going to end up being. After 6 months of trying without any success, we decided it was time to seek the help of a doctor.
So at the end of September 2015, we made an appointment with a fertility doctor and the testing began.
I did the initial round of blood work, which was 7 vials, and I ended up having to do it twice because the lab ended up mixing my blood up with somebody else's.
So I had to do some testing of my own, and my fishies are good.
I did the Natera screening, which is genetic testing to check all sorts of different things to make sure that I'm not a carrier of anything that I could pass on to the baby. And the results came back that I was a carrier for something called alpha thalassemia.
So because Janelle was a carrier for this, I had to have blood work as well to make sure that I wasn't a carrier, because if we're both carriers, this is pretty bad news. But fortunately, my testing came back fine. I wasn't a carrier, so we continued on our way.
And then after 2 months of testing and blood work, it was determined that I don't ovulate regularly on my own.
At the start of December, we tried our first round of Clomid, and on the 12th of December, Janelle had her first positive ovulation test since we met the fertility doctor. So it seemed that the Clomid worked.
But sadly, on Christmas morning, my cycle started and I was pretty crushed about it. I was completely prepared to take a pregnancy test that morning, and unfortunately I never got the chance.
So the second round of Clomid, we decided this time we were going to do an ultrasound as well to check the follicle growth.
January 5th, we did the ultrasound and they found 2 follicles that they said were growing well, but they also found 2 larger follicles that they said looked like they could be cysts. So everything got put on hold that month, and we were to go back when my cycle started the next month and do another ultrasound to see if the follicles or cysts ended up going away on their own or if they were still there.
So over the next month, we did 2 more ultrasounds to check on the cysts, and unfortunately they didn't go away as we'd hoped. So after discussing this with the doctor, we decided that surgery was the appropriate action.
My surgery got scheduled for March 21st, and I was scared. I've had 2 laparoscopic surgeries when I was 22 years old. One for my appendix, and the other was to have my right ovary and tube removed due to cysts and endometriosis. So I felt like I knew what to expect when it came to the surgery. However, I was still really nervous because if something happens to my remaining ovary, then we're done.
So surgery day came, and I took my emotional and scared wife to the hospital, and after the surgery was completed, the doctor came out to speak to me to explain how it had gone, and he said that what he set out to do, he managed to do. He drained the endometriosis, he removed the cyst, he cleaned everything up, but it wasn't all good news. That he found that the ovary and the fallopian tube were kind of stuck down, and that even if the end of the fallopian tube was open, which he couldn't see, that it was probably unlikely that the egg would be able to get down the tube anyway.
When we got home from the hospital and I got settled in, I asked Andy to play the voice recording he had done at the hospital when he spoke with the doctor, because I never ended up seeing our doctor before leaving the hospital after surgery. So he seemed to not want to play the recording, and he told me just to rest and not to worry about it right now. And so at that point, I kind of was feeling like something was wrong and there was something he didn't want to tell me. So I insisted on hearing the recording, and something was wrong. The doctor had told Andy that he thought it was time we start talking about IVF, and that he thinks IVF is probably our only option for getting pregnant.
Moving forward, the recovery went pretty well, and you all healed up. And now we're just waiting for Friday for our follow-up appointment with the doctor to find out what the next steps are.
I spent a lot of my recovery time researching IVF and just trying to educate myself as much as I can and just prepare myself for what we could be facing. And as much reading and research as I did, I still don't feel prepared. I'm scared, I'm nervous, and I don't know what to expect. But if at the end of everything that we're holding our little baby in our arms, then it will have all been worth it.
So Friday we find out what the future holds, the next steps, and we want to document this not just for ourselves but also for our families, mine being in England, some of Janelle's being in Florida. Hopefully if the other couples out there who find themselves in a similar situation, maybe a few steps behind us and don't know what to expect, they'll be able to watch these videos and hopefully it will give them a better idea and give them hope that they can get through all this as well.
So if you have any questions about our infertility journey so far, you can go ahead and leave them below. And you can subscribe to keep up with our baby journey as it continues.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.